Are you an addict? When I ask that question, what comes to mind? Is it drugs, alcohol, pornography, food? What about achievements, online shopping, social media, television? Let me ask you this. Are you addicted to not being addicted? Do you follow a strict set of rules and regulations and laws to keep yourself from not being an addict? Let me ask you this. How is all of that working for you? Are you free? Or are you simply a slave to not becoming a slave? You see, in all of our efforts to not be an addict, we create this new law, a new set of rules and regulations to help us with our behavior. But law will never give you freedom. You see, law will never be able to conquer a person's evil desires. See, Colossians chapter 2 says this: if you have died with Christ, and he has set you free from the spiritual powers of this world, why then do you keep on following the rules of the world, such as don't handle, don't taste, don't touch? Such rules are mere human teachings about things that deteriorate as we use them. See, these rules may seem wise because they require strong devotion and pious self-denial and severe bodily discipline, but they provide no help in conquering a person's evil desires. So can rules and boundaries be helpful? Yeah, sure. Will they help you overcome your addiction? Maybe, to an extent. But will they give you complete and total freedom from your addiction? The answer to that is no. Why? Because it's law and it's not grace. See, if law could give us freedom, we wouldn't need Jesus and we wouldn't need grace. You see, grace is scandalous. Grace treats you like you've never sinned. Grace is there when you are contemplating sin. Grace is there while you're right in the middle of your sin. And grace is there afterward when you're feeling guilt and shame over your sin. See, let me ask you this. How long after you've sinned for the 1,000th time does it take you to remember the grace that is found in the gospel of Jesus Christ? How long does it take? 3 days? 1 day? 6 hours? How about 30 seconds after you've sinned? Do you remember the grace that is found in the gospel, what Jesus Christ has done for you, that he's bought your sin with his blood? How about during the act? What if you thanked God for his grace right while you were in the middle of your sinful binge? What do you think would happen if you considered the gospel then? See, I wonder, what would happen if instead of running from God in guilt and in shame, we ran towards him in the light of his grace? What would change? I wonder, would we actually find freedom if instead of focusing so much on our addiction or not being addicted, what if we focused on the relationship with Christ that has been given to us through the grace of the gospel instead? See, what if we were addicted to the grace of God that is found in the gospel? Would our addiction to everything else fade? Paul goes on to say in chapter 3 of Colossians, he says this: since you have been raised to new life with Christ, set your sights on the realities of heaven where Christ is, sitting in the place of honor at God's right hand. Think about the things of heaven, not the things of earth, for you died to this life and your real life is hidden with Christ in God. You see, grace is the key. Grace is the answer. Grace is your freedom from addiction. Grace is how you kill the evil, addictive desires that exist in your heart. Grace has to be pursued by reminding yourself over and over and over again of the truth of the gospel, that Jesus Christ paid the high price for your addiction yesterday, today, and tomorrow. See, you and I, we can't out-sin the grace of God. We cannot out-sin the grace of God. I want you to let that truth ring loud in your heart and your mind. Because when you grab that bottle, when you go for that website, when you reach for that thing over and over and over again, let the truth remind you, let the truth of the gospel lead you to freedom. That you cannot outsin the grace of God. Let that truth grow into a love for God, the God of all grace. And let that truth change your heart here today.